Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about filmmaking. So say you're directing a set or you're working on your own passion project film, right? And say you've got a few days of filming and you're on the first day of filming, right? And you're setting up that first shot and it's taking a while and you sort of start to get that thing in your head of like, oh my god, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Oh no, right? That is something that I like to call the first shot syndrome, right? So it's basically whenever you do a film set, the first shot will always take the longest, no matter what, no matter how simple or complicated it is. Because it's the first shot of the day, it's going to take longer. I think it's because everyone's getting into the groove of things, you know. Even though everyone around is professional and they've done it all before, it's the fact that we're doing it for the first time today, right? That's what makes it more difficult. Every single film set that I've ever been on, the first shot is the hardest one. It's the one that has the most deliberation going into it, where you're kind of going, oh, should I put the camera here or here? Oh yeah, yeah. Well, do the lines, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. You know, everything goes through the full scope of process compared to what happens later on in the day as you start to get into the groove. A lot of those things you're having to consciously do become subconscious, and it's just easy to just kind of rattle off a few scenes just like that. Right? You'll see it. You'll see the first shot of the day, right, will take maybe an hour and a half to set up, maybe 2 hours to set up. Right, and that's involving, you know, actors coming to the location, crew coming to the location, that little bit of small talk that happens at the start. Oh, how was your journey? Oh yeah, it was all right. Oh yeah, blah 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 blah. Right, stuff that no one really cares about. Right, and then you start to think about the shot. You start to actually get into work mode about it, right? And you're sitting there, you know, various people are on their phone like this, right? And you're trying to come up with the first shot. You're trying to wrangle people together, right? Everyone's got high energy, but it's not quite culminating together yet. It's still got a little bit of way to go. So what ends up happening is the first shot just takes so long because people deliberate more. I think they want to do it more properly. I remember every film set that I've been on, it starts off with, you know, the camera with this full setup with a great big monitor on it, and then the sound guy's got like a big mixing thing with like big boom pole, and as time goes on, it slowly strips back down to the bare essentials. Right? And by the end, that camera has had most of the stuff taken off of it, and the sound recordist is, you know, probably doing it a little bit more bare bones. You know, they're not putting the blimp on for the tiniest little gust of wind. You know, everything and everything still sounds just as good as it did at the beginning because it's excess. We indulge in excess because we think that it's necessary. We think that it's important to have all of this filmmaking equipment. We think that it's important to have every single thing rehearsed and done absolutely to a T. But what ends up happening is that it sands off the emotion and the authenticity of the product. So if you were to keep up that level of deliberation that you're doing with that first shot, you would end up with what is kind of more similar to a lot of actual professional work, you know, like the proper big sets of, you know, hundreds of actors and hundreds of extras and, you know, sound guys all over the place that don't even seem to do anything. But I'm talking about like the ones that are below the guy that's below the guy. The one that's below the guy that's below the guy that's below the guy that's below the sound recordist, right? So you have a lot of people like that. And then, I mean, when I was working on big film sets, right, I was like the assistant to 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 the director of photography, right? And I just thought, I don't need to be here, right? All I do is I pick up a lens and unscrew the thing and put it on the camera, right? I don't see why they can't do that themselves. I don't see why it needs like 5 people to operate a camera, right? Because you've got the focus pillar, you've got the rig operator thing, you've got the actual director of photography who a lot of the time doesn't even touch the camera. They just determine where the shots go, right? You've got the actual camera operator, right? And you've got the assistant to all of those. So there's a lot of roles that go into it. And when you're working on your first sort of film, you want to try and make your thing look as professional as possible, obviously. And what ends up happening is in trying to replicate these bigger film sets without the resources that they have, you end up just wasting an awful lot of time putting a load of garbage on a Canon fucking DSLR. You put a big monitor on it that you don't need, or you put some hot shoe thing on the side, and you don't need any of this stuff, right? What you need is the camera to have a full clear SD card and a fully charged battery with backups of both, right? The sound, guys, is exactly the same. You need a few lav mics, you need maybe the little wind things for them, right? And then I'm talking about the fluffy ones, not just the normal pudgy ones. And then you need, maybe a boom pole. Don't need an expensive boom pole, just a bog standard one. And you can get for like 40 quid, because you spend a load of money on a boom pole. I spent a load of money on a boom pole once that allowed you to feed the thing through, right? Feed the cable through the pole. But realistically, that's just something that you can learn as a skill on how to not make the cable rattle against the pole. And also, lav mics are so much better than boom poles anyway. So I think lately I've just been going sod the boom pole. It just gets in the way of filming. So I just go without now. And it works a lot better for me. And I think when you're doing that first shot, there's a lot of pressure that goes onto it, because as the person in charge of this, you have the entire day ahead of you, and you need to make sure that day goes smoothly. And the longer it takes to do that first shot, the more pressure you feel, and the more pressure you feel, the more you need to, like, let's get this done. But it's just not like that. You need to actively make sure that it goes at the pace that it goes, because otherwise you're going to end up with a half-baked shot with lighting that's kind of fucked, because like it's over here and it's not consistent with the other shot, the reverse shot. The lighting will be inconsistent. You don't want that. What you want is just for your film set to go smoothly, and if you want it to go smoothly, you just need to get this first shot out of the way. So say if I was directing a film now, right? When I did Sheffield Psychedelic, my debut feature film, what we did a lot of the time was we stayed in an Airbnb, and then we would film in the Airbnb. So what I would do is I would set up the cameras, right, to exactly where they needed to be for the first shot of the day. So say there was a table scene at the kitchen dining table, right? I would just pop the cameras there, right? And I would get the lighting all sorted out, so that literally all that had to happen in the morning was I had to sit down, adjust for their height, right? Ever so slight adjustments of the lights, and then bam, you're good to go. But you know what? It didn't work that way, because we still deliberated a load over the first shot, and the first shot still took a long time. It doesn't matter how much or how little effort you put into your first shot, it's going to take a long time. So I'd say just get the first shot done and over with so that you can move on. Because once you get that first shot out of the way, it's like breaking the seal, and then the water can gush out, right? And once you get that first shot done, you will find yourself just rattling off shot after shot after shot after shot, and it will just suddenly become so much faster. That's why I'm recording this right now. It's currently 10 a.m. in a hotel that we're about to check out of, right? And I figured instead of, going around all through the day, not getting any shots, waiting for that first opportunity, why not just do one now? Now that I've already done one, I've broken the seal, right? Now that I've broken the seal, it's going to make it so much easier to do the next one, and the one after that, and the one after that. At least that's my theory. And I think it's a theory that's going to actually be true, because I've done this before a lot, right? With making films and all sorts of varieties, right? I've done them in indoors and outdoors. I much prefer filming outdoors, with like single camera setups and just like, bit of run and gun. A lot of that's a lot more fun than, the indoors sort of stuff, which I just find to be very stuffy, and like, oh, we need to change the setup here, and then the lighting needs to move over here so you can stay consistent. Oh, and then it's like, it's sweaty inside because it's kind of cramped, and everyone's kind of like running past each other, like, oh, sorry, sorry, like that. And there's an awful lot of that, and I just think it's just a bit annoying. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I just want to just tell you, just get your first shot of the day just done. Fuck how good it is, doesn't matter. It's not going to be the best shot of the day anyway, right? And that's an important thing. It's not going to be the best shot, no matter how much effort you put into it. It's not going to look all that good, right? When has the first shot of the day ever been the best one? It's usually the last shot of the day that's the best one, right? Or like one of the ones leading up to the last one. And that's when you're doing everything more run and gun and faster, right? So trust your gut. Just get that first shot done, out of the way. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, and yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below about your thoughts, especially if you've directed films before, short or feature, or music videos, or anything like that. Let me know what you think about the first shot of the day, the first shot syndrome, right? Because I do think that it's real. I think that every film set I've ever been on takes ages to get the first shot done, and then it's just easy breezing after that. Once you get that first one out of the way, it's okay from then on. It's just so much better, right? At least that's what I think. And it seems to be reflected in the world that I live in. But then that's maybe not the same one as the one that you live in. So, yeah, that's going to be it from me. Take care. Bye-bye.